Now we are going to see about the effect of manufacturing process on design. In the module 1, first of all, we should know what are all manufacturing processes. Manufacturing, in the sense, already we discussed that, but it is a process of converting one raw material to the finished product. Okay, for that, what are the process are there? We call it as a manufacturing process. So in that, there are three stages are there. One is a primary process, secondary process, and tertiary process. Primary process, it includes making the raw material in a form. We are going to take raw materials in the form of iron ores. Then it is to be making into different, by making some process, we have to make into casting or bulk forming, etc. It's a primary process of making the raw material. And then after that, once if it is done, then we can go for the secondary process like joining, welding, heat treatment, metal cutting, etc. on the secondary process. And finally we will go for the finishing of the component, finishing, surface roughness, okay, grinding and coating or painting. These are the next processes. Okay, here primary process, like raw materials, which creates the shape of this. So once raw materials, it may be a cylindrical rod or it may be a cube. Okay, I want a powder. Actually, we will get raw materials starting from the earth. If we get, it's in the form of different minerals, and it made up of, it's a powder form, ores we will get. Then it is refined, we will make into, melt into some this thing. And then finally it will, we are going to make some process for making the shapes, basic shapes. So the basic shapes can be done by the molding process, deformation process, and powder process. And secondary is the process which we are going to make the component shapes. That is, what is the desirable design of the product, we are going to make it with the help of machining process. Okay, first creating the raw material in a shape, and then we are machining, then assembling, or final appearance, to give the final appearance. And we can make a grinding, polishing. Okay, these are all the things. Now we can see in this flow chart, I can explain this. First, what we are getting is extraction from the ore. Okay, so this is the extraction from the ore, which gives the raw materials. We are collecting from the minerals, ores, and then we will make into casting and powder metallurgy, the forms how we are classify it. After getting the ore, we are going to make it into different forms. And the joining of raw materials, all. So the heat treatment can be done, and the metal removal, cutting process, and a finishing process. Finally, we will get into the assembly. These are all the manufacturing process which is going to be involved. And we can see how molding can be done to make, and the heat treatment process, the welding process, and finally the assembly process, which will helps for making the component. And for this, there are some process which may affect the process of the design. We have to choose which process for what type of product. So a product, if you design a product, if you make an idea about a product, then what are all the process to be followed, what are the process to be followed from the initial stage to final stage. So that is very very important to select these processes. So a casting process, which is used for the molding liquid, molten liquid to be poured into a mold. And but in the casting also, there are two injection molding is also there for making the difference. There are some different process which is helping to improve the shape and the surface finish of the product. Okay, and the molding, that's what viscous polymer, and either compressed injected into a mold. Casting is just, it's a flow, a molten material is flowed through its gravity, it will go and it will get filled up, and it gets solidified to get a shape. A polymer or processing or molding, injection molding and all, we will, before we will inject the viscous liquid into some cavities, and then the dyes, it gets cooled, and we will get this polymer process. that is a molding process. And deformation process is changing its a shape, forging, rolling, extrusion, wire drawing, extrusion process. These are all changing billets form on the raw materials, square block into a round blocks. Rolling process, we can make different types of diameters or different shapes of a rod. A square rod, a billet is fed into different rolls, and we can get different shapes and forms. Finally, we can get into single rods like structures, and extrusion, wire drawing process are there. These are all the things which helps to make. So these the different process, still there are so many processes are there. So any process, whatever it is, we have to select the process for making the component. Okay, these are all the effect of process during design. Okay, in the next topic we are going to see about material selection process.